I am here with guitarist, composer, scene maker Daniel Bruce, who is the inspiration, the organizer behind one of the most interesting projects of the year, the Mixtape Project at the Cleveland Museum of Art. And I can't wait to talk about it. Dan, thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
So, this is not unprecedented, really, this kind of concept, uh, but it's certainly unusual. And the breadth of your choices of collaborators is wonderful and unusual. So, why don't you kind of basically describe what this project is all about, the thinking behind it, and how it got started? What inspired you to do this, and how did you choose the players that would be the ideal participants?
Um, yeah, I really enjoy I enjoy arranging music. I'm still, I would say, kind of a novice arranger, or I'm still learning. There's a lot of people I play with that have a lot more experience, so I kind of bug them and learn about it and stuff, but I really enjoy it. And, I'm always arranging my own stuff for my groups and stuff like that, but um partially, I just really wanted to collaborate with some people that were not in the jazz scene because there's some great musicians around town, and there's people who I just love their music and I listen to it already. Um, and it's a lot of fun, and it just took some conversations around, people being open to me possibly reimagining, reharmonizing, reorchestrating, doing some stuff with their music. And these four artists were like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And I trust them all as musicians. That I think they've got really great ears, and I think they're kind of just excited to have a fresh take on their tune. I've done this some before. Through Tri-C for a while, I was working with a number of the small groups, and some of those students were starting to write their own music. And a lot of times they would have three horns in the group, and they wouldn't really do anything with them. So I would just very quickly come up with some horn backgrounds on their original music and stuff like that. And I always love just kind of filling in the sound behind kind of a skin and bones composition that I already really like. So I've been kind of doing it any chance I can get. And then with my own group, Beta Collective, a while ago, we were having various vocalists sit in, and I would take a variety of tunes and kind of reharmonize them, rework them for the group. And I just always really enjoyed that. I did a collaboration with Emily Keener a few years ago, actually during COVID. We all recorded it separately on one of her songs and really liked that. And I've just been kind of looking for chances to do that again. And um, I don't know, as I get older, I've learned like I can't wait for chances to do things. I just have to do them. So I just tried to make it happen. And Gabe at the museum was wonderful, Gabe Pollock. And he's already kind of really brought a lot of new music to the museum, and he's giving it a little bit like, they do amazing things with bringing people in from all over. I also think Gabe has done a really good job of starting to get some local connections happening in some parts of the museum and stuff. Not that it wasn't before, but he's really kind of expanding on it. So he was open to it, and we both thought that given all the names involved on the jazz side and the other genres and stuff, we thought we'd be able to get a pretty good audience. And I I originally wanted it to be tied to some kind of fundraising, stuff like that. And I've done some stuff with the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, and they're amazing. And, um, especially as the urgency gets more and more lately, and the fact that they had like two trucks with tons of food that then were canceled when they were on their way, and the fact that our current administration, if I can turn it into this, but this is just the facts on the ground, is weaponizing food for its own constituents. So eh, I don't want to get myself worked up, but it's kind of like it's absolutely the time that we need to be reaching out to our neighbors and helping them. So I'm just really excited that this is happening, and I hope that we can raise a bunch of money.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, you mentioned names, and uh, I'd like you to talk very briefly about those names of the songwriters that you're collaborating with, and what particularly drew you to their artistry or them to yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally it's me to them. They weren't really seeking me out, but so Ray Flanagan is just a stalwart on the music scene, and he's been around for a long time. And, there are a number of people in the jazz scene that do play with a lot of these people. So, like Anthony Tadeo is playing with a lot of singer-songwriters, stuff like that. I've kind of slowly been listening to Ray's music over the past few years, just kind of would run into him here and there and would either hear him live or check out some stuff. And he's just got such a great vibe. It's kind of like he was plucked out of the 1940s or 20s and put in today's world. He's got this kind of, so many of his songs have this kind of like swing feel, but it is not a modern swing feel. It's like a 1920s kind of thing. And just what he does to mix like blues and kind of Americana and rock, it's just really cool. And then he's just got some amazing songs. So I knew I wanted to ask him. Um, Gretchen, while she's not living in Northeast Ohio now, I just kind of put her in with Northeast Ohio because she's been such a big name here for years and only just recently moved up to Michigan, but still comes back to play and stuff. She is kind of like our local, I don't want to boil her down to this, but she has always kind of reminded me of like Joni Mitchell. And not exactly to tie her music into that. She's got her own sound, but it's definitely folk singer-songwriter, but with ears that go well beyond what you normally hear in terms of colors in that music and stuff. And she has always used a lot of the local jazz musicians, which to me is very much like Joni Mitchell. You can pick up a folk album by Joni Mitchell and it could have Wayne Shorter and Herbie Hancock and all these people on it. So like Gretchen was playing with Chris Coles and Matt DiRobertis and Tadeo and those people a lot throughout the years. And I thought just because of that and just because I love her music, I thought it'd be a great fit. I know Liz Bullock. We've done a couple of little one-off gigs every once in a while, mostly through like CSU. She was a student there a little before I started teaching there, but kind of got to know her as some of the other faculty were using her own stuff. And she's just got a really nice, like honest, straightforward, kind of blues tinged, soulful thing matched with pared down songwriter sensibility. And I just really like it. I mean, for all these people, it's really, I was just like, it's kind of a way for me to sneak myself into their band. No, I'm kidding. But it's like I'd like to play with you, but I'm not going to say let's start a band. So it's like let's do a project. And then Janari, I was not really that familiar with, but there were a number of people in town, kind of in the kind of rap R&B vein that I was kind of thinking about, and I kind of just stumbled upon him, and he just blew me away. And he's so cool. It's such a mix of like wonderful rapping, wonderful rhythmic concept. The textures are great on his own stuff. And then he plays like really great kind of distorted hard rock guitar, which is just awesome. So just listening to some of his stuff, I was like, this is amazing. So I just kind of cold called him and was like, would you like to do this? And he was into it. And we've had rehearsals and it sounds great. And I'm really excited about it.
Well, you yourself got started playing hairband music, as you told me one time. So, you're not exactly unfamiliar with that kind of world.
Yeah.
But in this project, you've had to be in many worlds at one time, or at least on one evening you'll have to be. So, what did you have to find within yourself or get from somewhere to be able to fully participate in these worlds, in a credible sense? How did you have to stretch to make this happen?
Um, I mean, the short answer is I had to find time that doesn't exist. But the real answer is, I think you and I had an interview not that long ago where I talked about how as I get older, I'm one of the great things has been thinking less about music from an academic sense and kind of like um, getting rid of the kind of the, to some degree, partially my own personality and partially music education. You can get in a space where it teaches you to question everything you want to do and is this going to be cool? Is this going to work? Blah blah blah. And then I think I finally just got old enough that I was like, screw it, I don't care. And I think along with that, even with this my group Ohm or some of my more recent projects, um, I'm just playing a little more from like my rock roots, or I'm not too worried if a song I write, if it really works to just have a one chord solo section and just kind of groove on it. Whereas I think for years I was kind of like, well, I need to make it jazzier, or I kind of had this agenda, even if I wasn't really aware of it. So I think as that's happened, I've definitely been leaning more into maybe some of my older sounds and I get to play in some of these groups like Reclamation Band where I get to kind of bring in some country rock, some of that stuff that maybe I haven't been doing for a while. And so I just kind of tried to get all of that in there. And then, I mean, I'm looking at this as like an arranger. There's a bunch of the songs on this where guitar does not have a very big part. I'm just maybe doing some little background stuff. Um, I was just trying to kind of give the orchestration that I thought would really bring out what I wanted to hear in the tune, or would maybe give an interesting new take on something, or. And it was kind of fun to do it first with these artists and kind of see them giggle at like some of the stuff I did. And I mean, I was happy they liked it, but also just that it's like something that it's a song they've been doing for a long time and maybe something that never occurred to them.
And it's pretty nice. I hesitate to call it a backup band because it's like an all-star band, but boy, you didn't scrimp on getting really great musicians to be part of this thing
Yeah.
on the, if you want to call it the jazz side. Was it
Yeah.
pretty easy to put that band together? Because it's a great band.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost Beta Collective, so in a sense, they're used to me bugging them for stuff. But also, they're also very open-minded, very into just good music, whatever it is, and a lot of them have played with a lot of these people, so I didn't think it was that bad of a. And then, I think everybody's into doing what they can for hunger. So, everybody was able to do it for everybody's getting paid, but to some degree not what they should be, so that we can make sure we give a pretty big chunk to the food bank and then hopefully just keep raising more on top of that. So, let's sell this out.
Let's sell this out. Let's fill the hall. Dan Bruce, thank you so much for talking with me about this project and can't wait to hear it.
John, can I add one or two things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially because this is video. We're gonna be there's the ticket prices for the show, which are I think a little bit lower than usual. Also, student tickets are $10 at the door. So for students, $10 show. I want to make sure I say that the Tri-C Jazz Studies Fellows group are going to be doing an opening set in the lobby at 6 p.m. from 6 to 6:50. So if you get there early, there's music. You can check out the Tri-C stuff. And then I'm doing a virtual food drive that's already begun. So there's a link and a QR code that maybe I can share them with you and you could put them up on the video or something. For people that either know they can't be there or just want to give before they even show up, there's a QR code. You can just go right to the website or the link takes you right there and you can give whatever amount. I'm kind of trying to make that just also go up to the time of the concert so we can just raise as much as possible. And then after the concert, we're going to have merch from all the artists, including myself, and all sales. A big portion of that is going to go to the food bank as well.